Here we go.
All right, Land Use and Planning, September 8th, 2025, it's 4:30 PM. Welcome. To start off, we will start with reviewing the August 26th, 2025 meeting minutes. Thank you for the PDF format on those, they're lovely.
Okay.
Yep. They look great.
I know, I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, super fancy. Can't mess with them,
Oh.
can't tweak them.
But
So-
I do need to tweak the top, it's a little, I gotta
Formatting
fix
is
that.
formatting.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
We
The
got you.
importance of the matter is we actually have it, there. Okay,
I move to approve.
and I will second. Okay, number 2, resolution 3715, resolution to assign name Liver Eaton Johnson, L.E. Johnson Row. I actually was listening to a very interesting, I don't know what you would call it. It wasn't like a podcast. It was like a YouTube video that Tony listened to when he was going to bed about Liver Eaton Johnson. It was very,
Oh.
it's wild.
There's some great books about it now.
Yeah.
They're just like, what?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So regardless, anyway, side note, so that resolution is in the packet, and,
It is, and
Yep.
I do have some updates.
okay,
I fielded a bunch of calls yesterday because some things you will notice in the resolution that were not there before. And it kind of had to do with when it came up with, we got a call saying do this at Alpine, and then they said, no, don't, and then we didn't, and then we got a call from the other owner saying, how come you aren't doing this?
Yeah, yeah.
And so what happens is, the regulation on that actually says that we will mail everybody, which was done, and that is now reflected inside of it. And then we have not heard back from 51%. Interestingly enough, on the L.E. Johnson way, I got calls from both of the neighbors who are already on L.E. Johnson,
uh-huh,
and they were under the impression, it was really kind of funny because they were mad at you guys.
oh,
No, but it was like, what makes them think they can go change this? We spent all sorts of money in legal and attorneys and getting it L.E. Johnson. I said, no, hold on.
we're
We're
changing.
making a mess. Oh, in that case, it's okay. And they had sent copies of their titles, their driver's licenses, their insurance policies. And one of their things is, it is L.E. Johnson, no periods, no hyphens.
Yeah.
Johnson, not Johnston. So what we have in place, and so I will print those off for you tomorrow if you want, but it was basically,
Exactly what we had talked about.
well,
We wanted
yeah,
to make this-
and it was the people that were there that were like, oh, and the reason this triggered, because I went back to Brian and said, what triggered this? And there's a new person getting ready to build or acquire land or something,
Okay.
and the title company couldn't record it because it doesn't exist, which
Right.
goes back to, well, how did they do it 5 years ago when there was a bunch of people who did it? And the answer is, I don't know the answer to that question. But we're fixing it for them as well as everybody going forward. Because there are people, I don't know if I found out, no, I wouldn't. But if you found out that your bank's got a lien on a piece of property that doesn't exist, oh yeah, see ya. So anyway, they were concerned that it was going the other direction. And they were very, very, very happy
Okay.
to hear that what we were doing was making it L.E. Johnson. So
Good to
if you got any hate mail or caught up, hopefully they reached out to me and hollered at me first. And it was very rewarding and entertaining to let them know, no, here's what we're doing. Oh, yeah, that's what needs to be done.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, part of me kind of wants to follow suit with what Ann was saying, with putting like a sign to explain.
I like that, yeah, no, I
But
did.
at the same point, are we gonna do that for Platt? Or
Yeah,
Hagen?
Or
Again.
Ballard.
Yeah,
Miller,
exactly.
or Ward, or?
Yeah, so,
It could be fun to talk to like the Historical Society and have them do a map of Red Lodge. This would just be a fun thing for them to do.
Yeah, and side note, I mean, there are, like, I've been to towns where they do have, I mean, I guess Red Lodge, we do have it on the actual building,
Mm-hmm.
but like, where was it? I think it was Ouray in Colorado, where they actually had, like, across the street, they had a full image of the buildings.
Oh,
and-
cool.
And like, explained what they were throughout the years and what has changed.
I love that. Yeah, I mean,
and I think that's a conversation worth entertaining and discussing. I don't think it's part of this.
no,
But I think that,
Side note.
I like that idea, but I like how it confused it even further because he was born Johnston and then named Johnston. And if you go to the wiki, it says, yeah, he never really did it. It was just, he pretended and it was a story, but it
It was
served him
good.
well. And it's like, who knows what happened?
No,
Yeah.
this is, yeah,
So,
exactly.
anyway, so that was and on the second one, the Alpine Way, since we're there, in fairness, who I have spoken with is the Realtor who's involved with all the people on Alpine Way. But I do know that we have mailed them and we have not heard any responses back, so.
Okay.
And I said, that's reflected now in both of the resolutions as well, that we did that process
Okay,
And
per
they're
the
both-
resolution.
so we are moving forward?
Both of them.
We are moving,
I-
okay, I was under the impression that we weren't moving forward, so we are moving forward with Rocky Mountain.
Yep,
and
we're
they're
moving
both-
forward with both of them.
I'm looking at both of them in the packet, and it keeps doing that.
I've been having a lot of issues with internet the last few days.
Malfunction Monday.
Yes, malfunction Monday, for sure. Okay, I do know that we have, Mr. Drobny here. And as opposed to getting deep into our conversations on city's responsibilities to make decisions on city-owned land, would you guys mind if I allow him to
No,
speak,
but-
so he doesn't have to hang out for the whole meeting?
Well, Mr. Drobny found a memorandum of understanding
Okay,
that he's also gonna chat about.
Okay.
But first of all, I guess the
Yeah.
first thing is no longer valid because I found a spot. I had talked with Chief Kuntz just regarding their vacant lot area right behind the fire hall.
Mhm.
There was an area adjacent to, I don't know what you guys are calling it, Villard,
The low-
that's Hauser.
yeah,
Yeah.
Hauser. Anyway, there was a portion of area there that I had chatted with him about to see if I might be able to, use it to store some logs, but, problem solved. I'm up on the hill with Mark Schmidt, so,
Oh, good,
Oh,
cool.
so you're
That's
not on Matisse anymore?
nope. I'm outgrowing that area and.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I've got married and I don't like the racket. I mean,
We,
yeah,
I get that,
so at any rate, I can go up with Mark's area and I can
perfect.
make racket all I want.
Cool, that's great.
So may I chat about this memorandum of
Yes,
understanding?
please.
Okay, so, Mr. Mayor, since you were our ward representative, and I chatted with our other new ward representative,
And then, that's me, the other one.
Yep.
Yep.
I've been fighting this battle probably for 10 years. So I have a memorandum of understanding dated October 11th from Christensen, Foltz, and Flitz. At any rate,
That's a fun one.
You're just making this up
Yeah.
now.
the item that is near and dear to my heart reads, relocation of curbs, but not ADA ramps, on Hauser between First and Second Streets, and replacement of rollover curbs, but not ADA ramps, with standard curbing on First and Second Streets, except Second Street east of Coots. So the area that I have in question is on First Street from Coots east to Highway 212. I did have a conversation with Mr. Waples. I just sent him, he stopped over and I wasn't there, but walked him through things and he had his little, some type of probe to elevation, so on and so
Yep.
forth.
Mhm.
But
I didn't understand that you weren't there in person.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
but I was talking him through it. So at any rate, from our rain the other night, I just sent him a picture of what doesn't happen.
Well,
And so, with my golden ticket, and I'd be happy to get you guys copies or whatever.
I'm gonna go make copies right now, that's all right.
It, I think it's pretty clear in black and white there, what the city, and I know none of you were in the positions you are now, so please don't take offense,
Nope.
but we're owed that.
Okay.
And,
And my understanding was already addressed and taken care of and we were moving forward based on your conversation, but I thought you were both there, so what do I know?
yeah, no, and I didn't get that, I didn't get a follow-up from that, so if that's the case, hoorah. But like I said, I know that none of you were around back then. I was, and it's been a long, Rocky Balboa type fight. And again, I get it.
Yeah.
The continuity, the people that were, I think it was signed, wrote, I know Betsy Scanlon was the mayor, and then, we had
So we're going-
Horace Sanderson
Yeah, it
was,
was way.
We're
yeah,
going
it's-
back a bit.
it's back a ways, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, well, if it was Rote and Scanlon.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a long time.
so I know
ago.
the date on that was, I think, October of 2010.
Okay.
So,
Yep.
tenacity and record digging.
Good job.
Good work.
Yeah,
Good work. And
Way to go, Dan.
Yeah, that was one thing I was gonna say too, is with, Mike Maples on board, I think that he's very good about getting things actually
Yeah.
taken care of.
And
I
he
know
seems-
that,
He seems like a real, I mean, talking with him, I
Yeah.
think maybe I've met him once, but
Mhm.
in chatting with him, you know, seems like he's got a real good head on his shoulders and, you
Yeah.
know,
and he wants to do right, that's the nice
And
thing,
he's very good about, like, if he says he's gonna do something,
it gets done.
it gets done.
Yeah.
It's not a, yeah.
and I know too, sort of off the record, I mean, since the resort tax came into play in '98, I don't know how many of you guys were around in '98, but, and I know that, you know, all the things that it's supposed to go towards,
Mhm.
I understand, and budgeting and so on and so forth. Thanks, Mr. Mayor. And so at any rate, we might have a win for the home team, for the little guy.
Yeah, well, and again,
I was expecting you tomorrow night at Public Works, but that's okay, this works too.
Yeah, this is a little more small, and, like I said,
Yeah.
now you guys know what's going on.
Yep.
So, and you did make copies, you said, Mr. Mayor?
I scanned it so I
Okay.
can
Okay, right
Distribute.
on,
send it out as far as it needs to be.
right on.
yeah, because I know that when I first got elected to council, you had approached on the subject,
Mhm.
and it was right before Mike started.
Right, he was
Right.
here, but he hasn't quite
No,
started,
Yeah.
sort of
got
like.
got his feet totally wet.
So now
And then
that,
we threw everything at him too.
Oh, I'm sure,
Yep.
I'm sure.
and he's
So I-
taking on some,
I just have to say, I really appreciate all the work that, you folks do, because I know it's real easy to sit in these seats and point fingers and make demands, and how come this isn't happening? So my hat's off to you guys, folks, for, you know, doing what you do. I know you don't get the thanks and credit that you deserve. So anyway, I would like to, on just behalf of a grateful citizen, thank you. And if you had any questions for me, I'd field them. If not, I'll get out of your hair.
no, I think on a whole, I'm just glad that you're getting taken care of with Mike, and that we have the pieces in place
Right, and all
to
the
do that
documents,
correctly, and,
everything.
yeah,
That's
'cause
huge.
And the mayor's got my number. He knows where I live if, anybody needs to see me.
yep, I see you drive by every day, I'm right there on the corner.
I'll miss you on our walk.
I know, I'll miss all the dogs. But anyway, thank you again very much, and, let's get on with your meeting.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Sam.
Oh, thanks,
My
Sam.
grand dogs want me to tell you, thank you.
Oh, good, good. I thought I recognized you.
Yeah.
Again, thank you very much, everybody.
Thanks, Sam.
Did you guys all want a copy of that just for,
I think I actually have it from when he emailed a while back.
Well,
oh, and I'd never seen it, it sounded like he just found that.
I think this is the one he just sent back. I have that
Yeah.
when he first started, but this is new. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then tomorrow I can bring it to Public Works
That'd be great, yeah.
if you want to.
And I think, I was under the impression that we had already, Mike and he had talked about it
Oh.
on Friday, and I had asked him to move me in, and I wasn't there, but I didn't gather that, he wasn't there either.
Oh,
Gotcha.
So, I looked at the pictures, and I guess Mike could have taken those pictures.
Yeah, no, at least we.
I think he took the photos and sent them to Mike.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Dan sent them to me, and then we sent them to Mike.
So,
Yep,
yep.
and I just drove by,
Oh.
because it's literally right down the street, so.
I would have
And I
also
did not get a chance to
find
look
it.
through that right there, but I presume, that he summarized it. But you guys
Yeah.
have a copy of it as well, so.
Yep,
And I do think that's
Probably have
an
it.
administration thing, not a council thing, but we're here to be,
and that's
to
kind
hear
of
and.
what I was
okay with
gonna
that.
lean into next when he brought it up, is just like, be more than happy to bring this to their attention, but end of the day, this is Public Works Department, and I don't tell them what to do with their money. Well, I guess we do a little bit, but, yeah, we do.
I tell them how much money they have.
Yeah.
But I don't tell them when to do it, that's one thing.
Precisely.
And you're gonna bring it to Public Works.
Yeah, I'll bring it.
All right, so, I'm gonna be perfectly frank and be the first to say, I did not do the application or flow chart you wanted.
Same. Sorry, first week of school.
Did you guys all see the stuff that Parks Board?
I
put
did.
together?
Yes, I did.
thought
That I
it
did
was-
get a
I thought it
review.
was a great encompassing a lot of the same stuff, and,
Yeah,
Yep.
that's kind of why I thought, I glanced at that, and I was like, oh, I'm not.
I'm not putting any effort in, because they've already done this
Well, I
before.
wasn't gonna recreate the wheel.
And that was kind of part of the reason I didn't really wanna start on this application part first, is we did have a lot of pieces that have already been done out there in the ether, and I just wanna bring it all in to actually create the process. But now, you wanna speak to the fabulous, work in progress that you guys have, so.
Well, yeah, I certainly can, and it is a work in progress. You'll notice it's draft, so draft form. We haven't taken action on it. To really approve it or recommend it to you folks, to the city council as a whole, to adopt this. So I was really kind of hoping maybe get some input from you folks as well, if you've had a chance to kind of review
Yeah.
what we had put forward. And, the whole process, and I don't know how much you've talked about this, and there's been some discussions
A little bit.
among you and with the mayor, but, our concerns as a board is that, it seemed kind of vague out there how we proceed in the recommendation process when projects come to us to forward them to you.
Yep.
And also, we were concerned about, the number of, projects that are coming up now. We're getting quite a few of them, everything from the recently, redone courts at, Bill Park School, which is making that primarily now a pickleball court, but still multi-use, that we can play tennis out there too, to a request for a four-court tennis complex, to, additions to the disc golf course,
Oh, right.
and, now the newly installed or completed pump track up there at Coal Mines Park. So we're getting a lot of these coming in, and there's other projects that seem to have kind of maybe skirted around the traditional system, and it seems like everybody is kind of, going through a little bit of a different system, and we want to make sure that we can put together sort of a nice systematic process that everybody will be treated the same, and that will allow, thoughtful consideration by our board in terms of our recommendations, bringing them forward to you for, final approval or disapproval, I guess, of projects.
Yeah.
We recognize that every project's going to be different, and it's going to be a different magnitude and scale, how that affects the city as a whole and other users of park property or city property. And so we want to have some flexibility built into the process so that we can address the unique attributes of every project in a fair way.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions for me, or do you have any comments regarding what you've seen on the outline here?
Yeah, no, I think that this is a lot of similar stuff that we've been working on. So, yeah, and so this is kind of great. Like, it's nice to just know that we're on the same page,
Yeah, we're on
really.
the- yeah, we're on the
And
same field here, at least.
So kind of what we've been working on, is what the process looks like, and what the scale is, and who reviews. So, and then what criteria needs to be taken into account. That's really what we've been focusing on a lot of. And then again, who's gonna have that say, and what does that flow chart look like of who goes to first, and then it ends at council situation.
Sure.
And so, and also, again, talking about that scale and magnitude, like, is this a permanent structure that's gonna have to be maintained? Or am I doing a memorial tree? Do I wanna put in a water feature? These types of things, like, where is the scale? That's where I'm struggling right now, is,
Like, which one takes precedence, where, yeah.
yeah, like, okay, Frisbee golf, I want them to have their space, but also, like, someone wants to put in a football arena, again, I like to throw obscure references out there versus specific things.
Until she brings in mud wrestling.
Yep, that got us very derailed last time. But,
I can tell you some stories about mud wrestling.
see, there we go, now we don't even need to have a
Exactly.
meeting.
But, no, agreed, like, we also need to make sure that nothing conflicts with another,
Correct.
like,
Organization,
yeah, so
or,
like, again, with like the disc golf, is that going to affect our javelin at the high school?
Right.
Like how, you
Yep.
know,
and who gets first
gets
dibs,
precedence over
yeah,
who, yeah.
And how do you do it when there are competing value judgments?
exactly,
Well,
and,
disc golf is more important than tennis, or vice versa.
Right.
yep,
You made a comment earlier that made me cough a little bit, and I was like, "Ugh," you said something like that had been taken over by pickleball, and I was like, no, it hasn't. Well, how do we
Taken
fix that?
over.
Mostly pickleball, no, it's same as it was before, but.
Yep, you're right, it's a multi-use facility.
Multi.
yep,
It's not owned by pickleball, we want to make sure that that's clearly understood too.
yep,
There's That's a really good concern is how, one special interest group's desires and how that impacts
Another,
other users in the same park. And really, Coal Miners Park is a good example.
It's a great example.
There's a lot going on down there, baseball, disc golf, soccer,
javelin.
the javelin,
Yep.
all that kind of, all those things can have, have an impact on each other. There's another impact that a lot of times is not really thought of, and that's the impact of the casual user.
Mm-hmm.
And for instance, the individual that, this is gonna be hypothetical example, but the individuals that love living next door to a park and like the openness and greenness of the park,
Mhm.
and the almost non-consumptive use of the park, or they drive by the park every day on their way to work, how are they impacted
Oh,
by a
exactly.
future development that could happen in that, on that city property or that park?
Yep.
No, and that's.
Lions is a great example of
And that
that.
was the
Lions
line
is a very good example.
with the ice rink that, yeah. Yep, exactly.
And, and probably to a certain extent, even coal miners
I'm
and
gonna put
Rotary
that in.
Park
Rotary, everyone
can
too.
fall under those kind of categories, so.
And so you said, talk about casual user, but even just neighbors.
And this is why we have that radius of impact, casual users, common, individual
I
users.
pulled up that, AI generated one that I sent you, to see all the different, yeah.
So are you folks really working on a flow chart?
Mhm.
Next step goes here, then if that happens,
Yep.
it goes
Well,
back here, or?
God, that's what we're trying to, but it, again, it is,
So again, I have it pretty much in here, like, I know, in my brain, I know what route it takes through the
right,
city
and I have a
government.
whole lot of bubbles in my head.
And there's a lot of bubbles, and we have a lot of the criteria in place. Again, it's really how you measure that criteria, and then also measure the initial split of like, big project, little project.
Mhm.
Like, where's that line? That's where I'm struggling, is like, okay, does that one tree need to go through the same process? Or does that one tree literally can get the green light from Brian Hanna, or from Mike
Or
Maples,
in
or,
instance, if somebody wanted to, purchase and install a memorial bench,
right,
does that have to go through the whole process?
Right, and
Exactly.
then, like, there's another tier, for instance, like, disc golf, not
Mhm.
a whole lot, except for
It serves a small user
the
group.
net, the small user.
It also makes a small, like, footprint and impact.
Exactly, versus like a whole nother 4, 5 tennis courts, like at what, like,
Sorry, that just triggered.
there are a
something in my
couple
brain.
more steps and levels, and there's a kind of an in-between, there's a bench, that's kind of where I'm trying to figure out, like, the ice rink is kind of a big one with the cost.
I'm gonna throw one more in here, but we're addressing it from zoning, but I think council ought to weigh in as part of this process too, and that is signage. So one of the things
Yep.
we have is, somebody put up a sign, and we actually already have a sign policy in place, but it really doesn't specifically say signs on city property sort of thing. So what happens right now is pickleball has a sign up there that says Red Lodge Pickleball. It doesn't say Red Lodge Pickleball Courts, which would be a wayfinding sign. And they didn't talk to anybody or do any, talking to anybody to put it up there, but it suddenly makes it feel like it is theirs.
Very,
And other people are kind of, and so they're looking at that in zoning. And that's been added to the zoning changes when they talk about signs and stuff, but I think it has a place in here. So it's like Shelley Field has a permanent sign, although permanent is anything that's up more than 30 days, so theirs is technically a permanent sign, even though it's on vinyl. I've not had a follow-up conversation with Jeff yet. He was at Lowe's or Home Depot or someplace when he and I chatted, but, that's one of those things that needs to kind of be in here too, is, people putting up signs at City Park without going through resources
yeah, making
can help it feel like, yeah, this is ours.
ownership, and that's where, yeah.
And there has been, and that's a really good point, because, we want to make sure that, we already have competing, uses of parks, and we want to try to, dampen that as much as we can to try to make sure we can get along, but we've also had the unfortunate, experiences of, people with good intentions going out and applying for grants
Yep.
for projects that never even came to the city
That
council.
didn't, yeah. and
Yep.
didn't
You know, and
fully
that puts you folks in a bad situation, an embarrassing situation possibly, and, you know, we wanna eliminate that. We wanna make sure there's a process that before you even apply for grants, that you go
Good
through
call.
and you have some, you know, there's been approval, a thoughtful process, and approval at the end allows you to do that.
Oh, boy, that's a whole nother.
You can't just grant opportunity.
Yeah, honestly, that just opens that's a whole nother, oh, there.
Sure.
This is almost like a sub-approval. So it's like it's almost like a conditional approval from the entities
Right.
to apply.
Well, I feel like it would apply under the applicant must obtain all required permits prior to grant.
Kind of there, but also, here's the thing, I'm not gonna go through and write for a grant that I might not get
Right.
and do all this work to just be allowed to apply for the grant. So again, kind of similar to what we were dealing with the police department situation with resort tax funds.
Mhm.
So like, we just wanna apply, we just want this money so that we can start the planning. And same with an issue, or not an issue, but a situation we had at planning board the other day. Someone was looking for a conditional use permit, but they didn't have a lot of the answers that we needed until, so again, there could be almost a conditional use here, and that could kind of freeze it at one of the stages in this application process.
And that makes sense, because that was, if you go to the soccer field, they had an MOU before they started that process, or
Yep.
if you go to like Red Lodge Ice, that's one where they've gone out and they've applied for a grant, and their project
Yep,
involves city property.
and then again, never
Before it
was
ever came here.
approved.
Never approved for it.
And that's just it, it's like, there could be a preliminary, sign off and approval for them to move forward, and then on that as well, a timeframe, a timeline. Where it's like, okay, the same way, like, if you buy a chunk of property, you have to have something built in a year. That same kind of approval process, like, this is your conditional approval, and then you'll get your final stamp of approval to start building after these things have been received. So we have the preliminary stamp, you have met this criteria, before we need the rest of the planning and all the
You have to
funding
be-
and proof of funds or bond payments, whatever, we give this to you first. So there's a phase there, and that would go in that flow chart.
Mhm.
Yeah, because if you're gonna apply for money, or if you're gonna go do engineering things where you dig holes in the ground, or,
Yeah, I mean, and again, I think about this in real estate world, where it's like, that's what that whole inspection period is this actually feasible? You can do a feasibility study within this period. Like, this is your
Well, that's what
timeline.
I feel, yeah, like a feasibility study is absolute, like
Yep.
Yeah.
And so you get this preliminary MOU, you can have that timeline to do feasibility, but then there's another piece that comes into this that we see a lot with the parks, with public works, all of those types of pieces, getting into those feasibility studies, and there's a cost.
But
And
then
where is
again-
that getting paid from? Is the city committing to a feasibility study and a potential grant that we might not receive? And if so, is there reimbursement? Is that something that we need reimbursement for? What kind of buy-in do we need? See, this is why I was not ready to get you an
Well, and
application.
also with the feasibility, now, are we doing a feasibility for a bench?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like, is that
Yeah.
something, but then I think, okay, do we do a feasibility for the disc vault, whatever, vaulting, vault?
so far, we've said permanent structure or change of use,
Yeah.
yeah,
are the two that we've identified. I
that's
think
the
kind of
trigger.
Okay.
And then,
And because, now having said that, there was a bench that went in up at the dog park. Having said that, it's concrete.
yeah, it's
So
big.
it's a permanent.
It's pretty darn permanent, well, I mean, it can be moved, but it would take some effort.
Right, I think you have to, I mean, those are, in some respects, those are park fixtures,
Yep,
you know, and they can be permanent, or they may not be permanent.
just writing words
The
down.
other,
Picture.
the other two things that
And the real estate
The
work
other
going
two,
out there.
well, the other thing you may want to consider is, you know, the need for the MOUs. And, you know, do we need an MOU at the planning stage,
Mhm.
and a second MOU in the operational stage if the project, you know, comes to fruition? And, you know, so that's another thing we may want to consider.
At an even higher level, it's what is the paper trail? If it's not an MOU, what is it? Is it a resolution? Is it, you know, what is the paper trail that said, yes,
There should probably
we
be,
went to council?
there should probably be an MOU and a resolution.
Yeah, I think what, like, kind of what I'm hearing is a temporary permit or a temporary MOU,
Yeah,
but essentially the same thing, right? Where it has a lifespan, it has a clock, and during that time, you get the opportunity to go and do this due diligence. But in the meantime, you don't have to worry about someone undercutting you for the space.
Right.
Like, it
There's
is reserved
currently-
for you, but you can't move forward on phase two until you get this signed off by group X.
And then,
I'd be hesitant to say it's reserved for you. So
Yeah.
for instance, let's go frisbee golf.
Uh-huh.
They come in, they do the thing, hey, we want to pursue it, great, go pursue it. Tennis comes in at the same time, hi, we want to pursue it. No, you can't pursue it or look into it because
there's a
somebody's already done
feasibility.
frisbee golf first, or vice versa, doesn't
Right.
matter what the order is. And so like I said, that may get to the point, it's like, you're there, other people may come in afterwards and put something in and put council in a position of having to make a value judgment about which one are we gonna go with.
And I'm kind of okay with that, 'cause
I'm okay with
again,
No, I didn't like the part where she said, it's locked, it's
No,
reserved for
and I
you, I was like,
see that
not
where, like,
necessarily.
And this
It's
is
all
like,
just doing like the feasibility test and, you know, the tennis is like, oh, well, we wanna do this, but at the same time, I'm like, first come, first serve, who finishes the feasibility test and comes up with something first is, you know, what we're gonna look at.
And if I go highest and best use, first come, first served doesn't fit into that equation.
and so this is where I kind of have a,
and that can be very vague too.
And-
That can be
and that's,
subject to.
so this, sorry, I'm just like, okay, everyone's right. But also everyone's
Wrong.
wrong.
Yeah.
So, what I was gonna say is, this is why before that initial MOU that locks you into that reserved temporary period, has that criteria for defining best and highest use. So yes, there is a first come, first serve aspect. There is an application though that comes with that too. It's not just like dibs. It's not just, I want this. There's a process that comes before you can even start that process. Does that make sense? It's the most bureaucratic red tape.
Right now, right?
But no, I'm specifically looking at you because you're likely the one who has to deal with it, and I also look at you because you're also a representative of your staff, and they're the ones who have to deal with it.
Yeah.
So this is part of the reason I bring this up, is does that make sense? Because realistically, if you have someone come into that office tomorrow and say, hey, Lonnie, I wanna put this bench here, like, and I know you're already dealing with this, like, okay, here's phase one, you fill out this application, and this is where we get back into what we had talked about with that community impact,
Mhm.
maintenance plans, and not necessarily maintenance plans at this point, but community impact at the very least.
Yeah.
Like, what is your initial statement, like, what is your initial goal, where's your map, like, rough drawings, it doesn't have to be finalized, it just has to show the intent. And it has to show who it's gonna impact, it has to show that this isn't going to affect other people, this is where you can get some of those letters of support. And then it can go through like, okay, you now have this temporary phase. Or it might be that, depending on the scale, you get like, you don't need to go through phase two. Like, this is just a phase one, this is like, after we look at phase one, we're like, oh, you know what,
And
no
that's where
need
the
to,
flow chart comes in.
exactly.
Definitely.
I mean, it's the same thing.
Move step, yeah.
Yep, move to step X, and then again, flow charts are fun.
Here's another consideration
I
I want to
proposed to my wife with the flow chart, I'm not arguing.
Did you really?
I think she responded with the spreadsheet, so we're good.
That's adorable, I love that.
Here's another
Wait till you see the flow chart.
consideration I want to throw out there, or maybe not a consideration, stuff we should think about, we should consider thinking about. Consideration, is that, you know, I've lived here 3 years, and one of the things I've been impressed about Red Lodge is the volunteer ethic and culture we have in this community. I mean, all you have to do is look at the fun run, right? What, was that last weekend?
Yep.
You know, and, you know, what a success that is. However, you can stretch volunteers too far.
Mhm.
And somebody could come in and say, I want to put a miniature golf course in this park or this, on this city land.
Mhm.
And, you know, it'll be a publicly run, owned by the city after it's completed, and I have volunteers lined up. And I
Mhm.
want to go through this process. Well, if we tie the land up, what if they lose their core volunteer support,
And
you
this,
know?
we do have this contingency plan
Okay, good.
discussed, yeah. So we have specifically, anything that's on city-owned land, we are assuming that the city will assume responsibility.
And that was the other point I was gonna bring.
Yep.
Even if you have an MOU,
Yep,
you have to understand, and I don't wanna sound like I'm lecturing, but we have to understand that when the city approves a project, it's their project. And that group could go away.
Very quickly,
And then all of a sudden, who's in charge of maintaining it,
Yep,
owning it, keeping it up and operating it? I'll give you an example. I love what the Bicentennial Garden Club does
Mhm.
over at Pride Park.
yep.
But if you look at the average age of the largely women that
We
are working
realize-
there, that could go away, you know?
Well, and again, another good example is the roundabout. We've seen that, to where the Boy Scouts.
That has happened.
Yep,
yeah.
exactly. We've
Right.
seen that full rotation in like, what, 5 years, 10 years? Where literally, at first, the Boy Scouts were gonna take care of it. But then that Boy Scout troop grew up, and now there's no one else taking care of it.
And we're spending $82,000 to update Pride Park from a maintenance standpoint.
Yep.
Yeah,
And so that's one thing that we have kind of built into this is one,
good.
what's your maintenance plan? What's required of this? How much is it gonna cost?
And
What's
that's
that?
worked as well.
Yep, and so like all of those types of pieces, then what it's gonna cost for the city, and then something to hold those MOUs accountable, is we've been talking about bond payments. To where you are gonna put down a sizable chunk that if you can't fulfill this 5-year plan, then we're keeping this money so we can maintain it.
There's kind of related to that, but it comes from a prior, life of mine, working with developers who dedicate parkland to cities. We always required a bond payment for the maintenance, either a bond payment that they, that covered the maintenance costs for the city for the first 2 years of that park's life, or the developer had to sign an agreement that he would maintain the park for the first 2 years. So that's a very important thing. It gives you time to kind of work budgets into
Yeah.
affording to be able to maintain and operate things.
And it, yeah, it really makes it easy to know this is what our payments are gonna be, like, this is what it has been operating at. So that's actually a good point too, is that might be something we wanna include in MOUs, is we need a financial statement each year. And volunteer hours, because I know a lot of these groups, I was gonna say, volunteer hours, and that's one thing. So also, so you know, we're working on the MOUs
Okay.
in concert with this. We say we're working on it, this is our intention.
You're talking about it.
Yeah, we're
We're getting
we are
there.
trying to lay the groundwork, or more so, we're up here trying to
trying to
figure out what we
figure
need to nail in on.
Yeah, sure.
But realistically, that is gonna be one of the things too, is making consistency with MOUs and then additional provisions that are just specific to those MOUs.
So let me ask you a question. Most of that work has been put together by Beth on our committee. But it sounds like maybe we have two groups working on the same thing.
Yes.
Would it make sense for us to pause for a minute, not maybe pause and catch our breath, and maybe Beth works with,
Consolidate all of our
Yeah,
ideas.
I think that's a good idea, like, again, I would love to just see what you guys are coming up with, and then well, I mean, more so the MOU part too.
Yeah.
Is that on here as well? Did I miss that?
Well, you have just template MOUs that we've done in the past.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yep. So again, I think that's a big one. But yeah, I think, God, I don't mind us all working on it at the same time. But it does make sense. I don't want to double up efforts either.
No,
The
I
way,
don't feel like
I don't
we-
think we would be able to coordinate it in a way to where it's like, we did this week, you do that next
No.
month. Like-
but I mean, meet together,
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
and then it maybe you could delegate it
mhm.
back to us,
Yeah,
but we have a clear understanding of what you're thinking and what, and
yep,
and how does that align with us?
okay. Okay, so I think,
Do you want them to pause, or do you want to say, keep doing what you're doing, we like what you've done so far?
I really like what they've done so
I
far,
almost feel like just a working document
that we can all
that
share.
we can all share with each other.
Yeah.
That way each can put their input, edits, changes.
Is there
When's
anything
your
in what they've sent you so far that you feel like, oh, we need to give you more definition on the edges or the boundaries.
Good question.
I mean, a lot of this is stuff that we have included.
Mhm.
I don't know if and this is more of your guys' criteria, but the organization appears frequently and as needed at Parks Board monthly meetings.
Yeah, we just wanted to make sure that through the process, even in the planning process, that as needed, they frequently.
Oh, okay, so this is after like the initial.
Yeah,
Right,
Okay.
once they've been approved to.
I thought it was like a qualifier, like, yeah, you keep showing up, so we're gonna give you favor, like.
Oh, you came to this meeting, but you weren't here.
Exactly.
Here's an example that, I think is a very innocent example, but Mayor was there, you know, the pump track is built,
Mhm.
and, you know, all of a sudden, oh, you know what, we're gonna have to have this pump track watered weekly.
Yep,
You know, well, who's gonna do that?
yep,
You know, and so it was just one of the things that got missed. You know, they could have been included in the MOU,
right.
you know, and we
Well,
want
'cause
to make
that's-
sure that there aren't any surprises.
Yeah. And I'm sure there always will be to a degree, but any way we can circumvent that is obviously ideal. So again, I think most of the stuff that's here, I can't really think of anything that I would advise against. I think some of it might happen at a different, so again, city council notices, Parks Board, there's board notices, public of interest with meetings, invites, input from their potential user groups impacted.
So that's similar to what we have with,
Yep.
yeah, just description. We have public benefit,
Yeah,
Can you send me what you have?
yeah, it's rough, just warning,
That's
but.
okay.
And that's what I was gonna say is instead, and again, I'm sorry, Dave, I know you really want something that you can be working off of, but I just,
No, it's the ability that you can share it with them. It's-
Yeah, no, I
it's
can
kind
do
of the
that.
Same thing, so. If
Okay,
it's in your brain, we can't.
okay.
Fill it out.
So how would I work on, instead of application flowchart, a more cleaned up version of what we have? And then essentially, I'll still try and drop a flowchart, I'm just gonna do it by hand, I think that might be easier, for I'm not getting
As
too.
long as you're doodling, it'll happen like that.
Yeah, right? And that's it, it's like, if I just doodle it, I'll just do it tomorrow at the council meeting.
Guilty.
I'm a doodler.
There's a flow chart,
template.
template, you know.
I've looked.
There's lots of them.
There
There's
are,
tons,
there's
yeah.
quite a few. And in fact, that's where we were, playing around using AI
Yeah.
last week to help us.
I
Yeah, we were
do have
gonna
a
see if
request, you guys wrap
technology-
this in 5 though, because there's a 5:30 meeting I have to get going in here.
Okay, gotcha. So yeah, we'll come up with something that shows what we've been working on and kind of the next step goals.
Okay.
And then from there, you guys can decide if you wanna continue on what you're doing. But I think some of the stuff that you have in here will also fit with what we're doing, but some of it might not necessarily be a Parks Board responsibility,
Okay.
to where it ends up a little bit further down the line. So like the public noticing and that kind of thing. I'm not sure where that will take place in the, and again, you guys are welcome to provide feedback.
Okay.
When's your next Parks Board meeting? Are you guys gonna be talking about it?
First Wednesday of October.
You guys have another cycle before then.
Okay, cool. So
Okay.
yeah,
And by the way, the public notice stuff is already, because they have a separate thing in their minutes that they didn't get to, that
Oh,
they're acknowledging and their process now recognizes that that's a council function, not a Parks Board
cool,
function.
cool.
So that's already been addressed.
Sweet.
So-
That's fabulous. Okay, I think that's the plan, is just clean up what we have, send it to you guys, send it to Dave. And I think that will at least help with questions that you may receive, that essentially we don't have things run. I'm fine with, like, basically freezing at this point. The good news is it's going into winter, and that means less dirt can be dug.
But there's still a lot of projects, like I said, the
I know.
one that's scaring me right now is I go into those ICE meetings, and I'm happy to say, you know, this isn't a done deal, and specifically, you guys still have public sentiment, there are dissenters, you're tearing up grass in downtown Red Lodge. And then the ongoing cost of maintenance is a pretty,
That's the big one.
that's
It's
gonna be
that and
another
who's
tool
gonna
for
manage
our
it.
Public Works Director.
Well, and it could also increase use, traffic, parking and everything
Yep.
else in that neighborhood.
Yep,
Yeah.
Well, that's already over there, because, you
Yeah.
know, ice skate all winter long, so.
I know, but when you build
the
something
crowd.
better,
You build it, they will come.
That's
Yeah,
true.
yeah, it won't be just on cold days, it'll be all days.
Mhm.
And I'm not mad at that. Like, if someone who lives on that block, I ain't mad, but I also don't live across the street.
On
Yeah.
that block, right.
And also note, that is something we do have in here too, we called it the radius of impact, where essentially you have,
That's really good.
like, again, thinking of the folks that are gonna have to look at it every day.
Unintended consequence.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
I love unintended consequences. I can't remember what it is, but it's a YouTube series that you can follow, it's just little shorts, and it's,
Like an engineering one?
it's just all across the board, like unintended consequences, where, like, for instance, there was, it was a mouse issue in some country, I wanna say, we're just gonna go with Thailand, we're just gonna throw that out there. There was a mouse issue, but you couldn't collect snakes, or no, you had to have snakes to get rid of them. So
then
people
they-
started breeding snakes,
And then there's
And then-
monkeys, and then, yeah.
Well,
Yeah, and-
Australia
yeah.
is a great example.
Right.
You bring rabbits in, you know, from the farm, and all of a sudden you're rolling around with rabbits.
Yep. So, yeah, I think that's a good course of action. I'll send you what we have. I'll try and clean that up by our next meeting, and then we can start to draw a flow chart by next meeting. How about that?
Yeah.
I think we can put this all together and figure out where people, like, where things land.
And then you have 2 weeks to share with them.
Correct.
Yeah.
I think that
And
sounds
clean
good.
it up and then we can share it, yep.
Yep.
We want to invite that into our next meeting.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
glad that you came, like,
Should
and thank
we-
you for sending all this along.
She had a good idea, should we have, like, just invite Beth to our next meeting?
Yeah.
To have
We
her-
invited her to this one, there was just a there was a scheduling
Okay,
conflict.
all right, well, yeah, see if she can make it to the next.
Roger's our substitute vet.
That's
I
right.
mean, we're not,
Thank you.
we appreciate.
No, but, yeah, only because you said Beth
I'm
was
here
the
for
lead.
Speak.
Back up, Beth.
We call this artifacts.
Backup.
How we got
I
from
like-
virtual,
I like the backup, Beth.
virtual
Yeah.
vet to this is technology artifacts.
I made poor substitute.
I've been watching Parks and Rec recently, and that's just been,
Training
Like-
video.
just like, man, I wish we had like a department, like, for this kind of thing. Just for like,
Be careful what you wish for.
right,
Yeah, I used to work for Parks and Recreation in, Las Vegas, Nevada.
Oh, God.
I'm
Yeah.
glad you're on this committee.
yeah.
Oh, my God.
Literally, it was Parks and Rec person.
We gotta talk, I probably know some of the people.
From Vegas?
Well, I-
What, 5:20 already?
Oh,
Yeah,
wow,
I
okay.
close it, adjourned.
Adjourned.
Oh, my God.
We just realized too that we didn't put the speaker on ours,